So if you guys are familiar with Egon Schiele, he had a lot of self-portraits, and they're kind of like tormented and mangled. Some people say they have like sexuality to them, but in this case, it's more about like the discomfort of the body, and like weird hand posing was a big focus. So we did some development kind of trying to make him feel more uncomfortable with his own existence. And I feel like this is where we started to really figure out who he is. So we have his little jacket from the first sequence in there, and then just a bunch of like hand poses. And so I felt like this was super successful, and we were starting to find like real character depth with him, where these feel like something new and special, and the stuff that we had looked at earlier felt kind of like traditional animated fare, but like this guy feels like a rich, particular character, and we're working with what he's got, which is not a whole lot, his hands, his posture, that kind of stuff. This pose was from, there was an alternate version of the movie where Spot like goes to this superhero bar and just destroys everyone, and then takes his place at the like throne of the bar and stuff. It was a pretty sweet sequence, but when they split the movie in half, it didn't fit anymore. But it was pretty cool. And then a walk, cycle, and so we felt like we were starting to figure him out. This is also another piece that Humberto did. So as he gets his power, we wanted to display it in more than just like his spots get bigger or something like that. And the pitch here is kind of that it's like an infection. And so there's various versions of this throughout the film as he's getting powered up. One of the things that I like best is how he's got the black hands. And there's a scene that I'll show you in a second where we apply that in a really cool way. And then this is also Humberto's work. He did, let's see if this should play. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is him experimenting with 2D stuff to make the spot energy kind of like electricity and dynamic, and not just like throwing black frisbees around all the time, which would be not particularly exciting. Here's another one where he kind of does a power-up move. These were tests that were just done on the side, and I think we ended up sticking them in the movie, and like some of Miguel's like security footage or something like that. Like it plays in the background, but it was never meant to be in there. So that's kind of cool. And then lastly, this test. And this one worked really well. There's one thing where it got a little weird. You can see that his anatomy is getting a little unclear here. Like we want him to be strange, but I think he gets a little too kind of jello-y there. But still really cool. I love the way the like pop can gets like sucked in with the energy and stuff. And then this was much earlier than those tests. This is an early Abyss test, and this is almost done entirely in 2D by an animator named Nick Kondo very early on, and that's just there because it's cool. And then so here's some of this went and ran with to make even cooler. And then I'll show you, skip ahead to fight sequence, which is this one. Okay. So there's a scene here. I'll come back and I'll loop that clip. But in that scene where he kind of threw the portal, his arms swing really hard, and as he does, all the spots collect into his arms. But I love the scene because he's just so fast with his reaction. Let's see this one. So if you look as he spins it, all of the energy goes into his arms, and I think it's just like a sweet look, even though it's only on screen for a second. And I love how like you think that he's not paying attention, but his reaction time is super fast. It makes him like kind of hard to track and erratic and scary for that reason. And then I'll show you some stuff from, let's see. And then here's an example of the kind of electricity effects in play, much smaller than it was when it was on his fingers. But as he yells just a joke to you, it kind of bursts out from his like anger. And then lastly, I'll show you once he's like fully transformed, which is, here we go. These are some of my favorite scenes in the film, just because he's so different once he's all powered up. He's got this confidence, he's stoic, he controls his motion. So like the beginning of the film, Spot doesn't know how to be, he's like moving around all the time, like he's uncomfortable, but now that he's got this power, he doesn't have to do anything, and that makes him so much more intimidating. And so like getting to see that last little bit of the white disappear into the blackness in his hands is a scene that I just totally love, and these were animated. This one was animated by Nadeep Varghese, who's one of our best dudes. There we go. Yeah, I love that scene. And so we're using like multiple rigs there. We're using like what we call pose stamps, which are like little geometry imprints that don't have a full rig, but it allows you to like put extra limbs in temporarily and stuff like that. But it kind of acts as a guideline for the downstream departments. And then I'll play the lit version. And then I think that'll be it for my part. Let's see. Yeah, all 2D and 3D stuff just for the play blast.